2025 is the new year, and in the cricket world, this is going to be our first show in this year. Mugalu Jeremiah is my first name, and we are going to be talking about a couple of issues in the cricket world. Mainly the team that was called up to feature in the second round of the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League B, and a lot more that can fall in there. But with me is a gentleman who knows, sleeps, what should I say? But he knows all about cricket. The name I won't say, but let him just introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Jeremiah. To our viewers, Happy New Year. And I'm very happy to be here because this is the first show, the first cricket show at the site in this new year 2025. And I'm very happy to be the first person to be hosted here at the site. But my name is Sajab Ivan Cyprian, and I am a writer of sports at the Touchline Sports site. I mainly focus on cricket, plus maybe other rare sports. I'm happy to be here.
We are also glad to have you. And the main essence today here, good enough, you mainly focus on cricket. So this is a cricket show that has been running through the last 2-3 months of last year, and we have begun the year on a high, having you on this show. But diving into the action, yesterday, the team that is going to represent us in Hong Kong, where the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League B second round is going to take place, was announced. And there are a couple of notable absentees, but there are also some regulars, although most of them, some made their debuts on the national team in the first round. Some are youngsters coming up in the ranks. But first of all, the team. What would you like to say about the team?
What I would like to say about the team, of course, the two absentees that you talk about are Brian Masaba. Brian Masaba was the captain when Uganda went to the T20 World Cup in the maiden appearance. And shortly after his return, he announced retirement from T20 cricket. The Challenge League B tournament is a 50 overs cricket. But I've not had the chance to talk to Masaba, but his absence from the team, so many people have been saying that he retired from cricket, from international cricket. Maybe we're just playing league cricket. Then the other absentee in the final 14 is Pasco Murungi. His reasons for not making part of the team are not quite known, but the team had training sessions here in the previous couple of weeks, and they played trial games. So I think maybe Pasco's absentia may have been linked to his performance. But of course, we see that both reserves of the first round of the Challenge League B, Cyrus Kakuru and Joseph Aguma, now make it into the final 14. And then in the reserves space, it was occupied by Bilal Hassan. Bilal Hassan last year appeared in Ugandan colours during the T20 World Cup. Then shortly when the team came back from that tournament, some said that he went to visit his uncles in England. But then later on he came and he has been training here with the team. Then the other reserve, who has been very, very impressive when you look at the trial games that have been played prior to this tournament. They played only 2 trial games. Ronald Dultayo has been scoring some runs up front. So that is really the shape of the team.
Good shape of a team, I would say. But Brian Masaba, he's the name that many are talking about. What of Simon Ssesazi, one of the people that featured in the Continental Cup in Rwanda? Which set is he, and why is he not on the team?
Of course, the question you're asking me.
I know. It's a question that I shouldn't direct to you because you're not the coach. But
I'm not even part of the selectors. But of course, what I think one of the reasons that's why Cyrus may not be part of the team, to be sincere.
Simon.
Sorry, I beg your pardon, Simon Ssesazi.
Yeah.
To be sincere, Simon Ssesazi, when he was not part of the Challenge League B tournament, he got a call when Uganda went to play the emerging tournament in Rwanda, emerging invitation tournament in Rwanda. Was getting a knock a bit, was getting groove a bit, but the other runs weren't coming still. During the IL T20 Continental Cup second edition in Kigali, still Simon Ssesazi was part of that team. But when you look at these 12 games that have been played prior to this tournament, Simon has not been scoring. He has not had so many runs on his back. But I believe one of the reasons as to why Simon Ssesazi is not part of this team, maybe they are trying to make sure that he focuses on his T20 cricket. Then also, having Simon up front, it means you'll have so many opening batters, out of order batters, because you have Shudip Mangan in the team, you have Raghav Dhawan on the team, You have the blacker boy, Robinson Obuya on the team. So having Simon Ssesazi there would also bring some bit of havoc in the team. But I believe maybe they could have dropped, in my opinion, they could have dropped Raghavdan for Simon Ssesazi and given him a chance. But not that Simon Ssesazi has been left out or is being sent out from cricket. He's a young man who can still work on his skill and technique and also make sure that he gets runs on the team. But I believe the reason that's why he is not part of this team, it's either they are making him focus on the T20 tournament, or they have really seen that Simon is not scoring runs and they are trying to give him a break so that he can revise himself, he can go back to the nets and play to make sure that he fights for his spot.
We have been talking about a former captain in Brian Masaba, but at this point of the time, the captain is Riyazat Ali Shah. What do you make of his performances so far as a captain?
When you look at the tournament that we had prior to the first round of the Challenge League B tournament, the Bahrain series, Riyazat Ali Shah looked to be scoring with runs. But again, when it came down to the Challenge League B tournament, Riyazat was one of the players who were getting those runs for Team Uganda. So, of course, being a captain for the team, it comes with some bit of pressure. Every time they give you that role on your back, you want to do a lot compared to what maybe you could have done. But I believe Riyazat Ali Shah, when you look at his performance in the ILT20 Continental Cup, he was scoring runs and winning games for Uganda. And on a personal basis, I've always had chats with Riyazat. Even when you look at these Royal games, in the first Royal game that was played, that was last Saturday, Riyazat Ali Shah scored a century. Then Riyazat Ali Shah had a game. They have a community which is called Aziz Damani Ismail Community Team. They played a practice game here at Lugogo, and the second game Riyazat Ali Shah scored another century. Then in yesterday's trial game, no, the day before yesterday there was a trial game on Monday. Riyazat Ali Shah missed a century. He scored about was it 41 or 44 runs? I'm not really sure about the figure, but he missed the half century by just a few runs. So Riyazat Ali Shah has not really gotten that pressure of being a captain. He is scoring the runs, and runs are getting to him, because I've seen players like when they gave Roger Mukasagaliwango the chance to be a captain of the team, runs really disappeared from him. So actually the players that we should be looking out for, in my opinion, Robinson Obuya, Riyazat Ali Shah and Shidip Mangera should be the players with the bat. Then with the ball, maybe we could be looking at players like Henry Senyondo, because he has always done it for Uganda.
Previously, when you were here with Dennis Musali, the media communications manager of the Uganda Cricket Association, we were talking of which criteria in which a captain is picked to lead the team. And one of the things he was telling us is that captains in cricket are not like captains in other sports who do have skills like you have to organize a lot, you have to do what. It is all about leading from the front, that if you're a batter, hit those balls. If you're a bowler, make sure we get those wickets. So I think Riyazat kind of matches that. But on the other side, I would like us to look at our bowling. So far, do you think we are where we should be in our bowling so far?
I believe yes, we should be where we are where we should be in our bowling. Because when you look at that tournament which is going to be in Hong Kong, I don't think there has been any major tournament in Hong Kong for the past years. They will be playing on fresh wickets. So right now, no one has a clue on what those wickets will be doing. Then also looking at Hong Kong, it's going to be cold. The temperatures are somehow low in Hong Kong. Not like Tanzania. Of course, the other leg of Challenge League will be played in Tanzania. We know that Tanzania is a country with slow wickets. There we know that maybe in countries like Australia, they make fast pitches that favor fast bowlers. But of course, when you look at the way the bowlers were selected, focusing on the bowlers, of course, you have Juma Miyaji there, Cosmas Chewuta, both of them providing pace. They didn't deliver well during the Continental Cup. That was a tournament for spinners, maybe also because of the wicket. But having Joseph Baguma there, a spinner, very, very talented. He played in the Under-19 World Cup. Then you have the season demand there, Henry Senyondo, Alpesh Ravi Ramjani, who will be bowling, who is a bowling all-rounder. You have National Karan with his cutters. I believe bowling won't be a problem for us as Team Uganda. And I believe despite what these wickets will be offering, our team is a bit balanced, because even Riyazat Ali Shah can give you some bit of pace. So meaning if you needed an extra pace ball on the team, you could be looking at having Juma Miyaji, Cosmas Chewuta, and maybe giving Riyazat Ali Shah the ball to ball. Then if the pitch is favoring spinners, You have the season demand there, Frank Nsobuga, the legendary in the team. You have Joseph Waguma as an option. You have Henry Sonja as an option, and Alpesham Jani. So those are of course, in 50 overs, every bowler can bowl up to a maximum of 10 overs. So if the pitches are favoring spin, just know that you have 40 overs of spin. Then maybe Cosmas and Miyaji could come around with the remaining 10 overs. So I believe when you look at the bowling, our team is really in a good shape.
You've been talking of the number of spinners we have on the team, and you've talked of Frank Nsobuga, the evergreen Baresi, and each and every year I think is a year to celebrate him as one of the legends in Ugandan cricket. But what do you make, a little bit one or two words, what do you make of his career so far? We are in 2025. I think he made his debuts in the 19s. What do you make of his career so far?
Personally, for the previous days, I think from 26th December, I have been meeting Frank Nsobuga every day. Of course, I happen to be coming to Lugogo every day, so he also comes around. But what I like about Frank Nsobuga is his discipline. The way he exercises, even before the team had resumed the training, you could see Frank Nsobuga saying, Ivan, let me first go for 5 laps, then I come back. His life, where we are taking soda, is taking water. When we are taking beer, he is going back home. So I believe that's one of the things that has really made him make sure that he stays so long on the team. But then another thing that you can say about Frank Nsobuga, I remember when we were in Rwanda for the ILO T20 Continental Cup, I happened to be part of the media liaisons of that team that was in Kigali. I was sitting, I think, with the Honorary Secretary Jackson Kavuma. So, of course, as we were having conversations, popping conversations, we talked about Frank Nsobuga. Then he was telling me that maybe he wanted to get somewhere there where they could put Frank Nsobuga looking at his age, maybe they could fix him in coaching. But I told him that what makes it very hard for this to happen, Frank Nsobuga, you would see that other bowlers are struggling. When you give Frank Nsobuga the ball, he comes and picks for you wickets. In the 12 games that we have played here, in the first 12 game, Frank Nsobuga managed to miss the half century by less than 10 runs. He came, and him and Stephen Waboso were part of those players who managed to stick long on the wickets. So he's really a man, in the players that I've seen playing cricket, he's my all-time best. Every day, anytime, I would choose Frank Nsobuga because he's very exceptional. When you look at his fielding, does not match his age. When you look at what he does, the impact, the experience, he's really a man that you would love to have on that team. So I believe Frank Nsobuga should be one of the players who do play until when they get tired.
I would add my word on that because I think not many players have scored a maiden on their World Cup debut, and I think Frank Nsobuga is one of them. So it's one of those things that you would take as a new person who has just seen cricket today, that when you get to hear that name, Frank Nsobuga, you should know what it is all about. But going forward in the Challenge League B, we are not going to be playing alone, by the way. People may think that we are just going there. We are going to walk on the oval and come back. We are going to be playing with countries like Italy, Singapore, Bahrain, Tanzania, by the way. And have I forgotten any? Hong Kong, China, the hosts. And our first game is going to be against Bahrain. Bahrain, anything new that you would see Bahrain bring a challenge to Uganda?
Actually, for matters of clarity, the last game that we played in the leg that was hosted in Uganda was against Bahrain, and the Uganda managed to win that one comfortably. But I don't believe Bahrain will put any challenge for Team Uganda. And my reason is because at least Bahrain, when Bahrain was going to play the first round of Challenge League B, they came to Uganda, and I had the chance of interacting with them, with most of the players. Of course, they have players who have played List A cricket. When you look at their captain, I don't know why I'm forgetting his name, but
very familiar name.
Haida Ali. He was even playing in the ILO T20 Continental Cup. I had the chance of interacting with them. But what I discovered about Bahrain is that that Bahrain team, there are people who have ever played cricket. Jeremiah, the way you say that me and you, we are covering sports. Then after sometimes we may leave Uganda and we go to Kenya. So we go to Kenya to do our business, because most of these guys, when I interacted with them, they work in warehouses. They are running their business in the kingdom of Bahrain. So now what happens is because there is need of a team to go and represent Bahrain, they just call them and they come from their warehouses to come and play cricket. So after this Challenge League B tournament, of course, there has not been a lot of time because the Challenge League B tournament ended mid-November. They had the T20, it was the Asia Cup something. So they have played a lot of cricket. They have not had a lot of rest. And they are not people who train a lot. They just come and play cricket because of that experience. So I don't believe that Uganda will have any challenges beating Bahrain.
Ivan Sajabi doesn't think that Uganda will have any challenge in beating Bahrain. Who am I to say that Uganda will? But anyway, from the countries I've listed, which one do you think will challenge Uganda the most?
The country that will challenge Uganda the most is Italy. Because when you look at that Italy squad, they have about 3 to 4 players who are playing counter cricket in the England. They have that man called Joseph Barnes, who can score runs in any conditions anyway. Because this man has ever played for Australia. He was an opening batter alongside David Warner in their test. And Australia, recently in December, we saw Australia giving someone a debut at 31. Imagine making a debut at 31. So it means for them, before they choose you, they clearly look at you and your technique. And when you see the way they were chasing the runs that we had set here in Uganda, that game which was in Entebbe, you would see that maybe they could have won the game. And there is a player who returned back to the Italy squad. I'm forgetting his name, but he was playing counter cricket when they came here and is now a boost. So I believe one of the teams that will possess a lot of problems and troubles for Team Uganda will be Italy, because their team is balanced well. When you look at the first bowlers, that man who has the name of Kalugamagi could come and bowl his about 8 overs on trot. They are really a very fine team that Uganda will be looking at will be looking out for.
Italy. I was looking at Italy here, and I think their only challenge was Uganda. A game where we had a lot of pressure. I think I was seated there amidst a lot of cricket fans, and many of them were on their toes, saying, tuyinza ogiwangula, tuyinza naye ndaba tugenda giwangula. And eventually we did win the game. But Shidrip Mangela, one of the gentlemen who helped us win against was it Bahrain in the last game, did so well. Do you get that feel that he's a man that can has already gotten that, what would I call it? Have you ever seen a plane that is coming from the bottom going, taking off? Should we say he's one of those people that are taking off in Ugandan cricket?
For the benefits of our viewers, Shidrip Mangela has ever played in our local league. There is a time he came and played for Aziz Damani Cricket Club, scored about 2 or 3 centuries. I think by then he was based in Tanzania. And Shidrip Mangela, on a personal basis, is a friend. Because I remember when, I don't have his contact, but when my birthday just ended, my birthday was on 10th January, so just a few days they resumed the training. So I met him, and he was telling me, Ivan, I belated birthday. I last saw you when you were in Kigali, so we had that chat. But Shidrip Mangela is a left-handed batsman. But what I like about Shidrip Mangela is that he has the technique that can help him score those runs. When you really see him at that crease, you would see that he's a player who can score runs. Of course, we see that here he scored, I think, a century for Uganda in the first round that we hosted, then plus about 2 or 3 half centuries. So he's one of those players who will always try and make sure that he scores runs for Team Uganda. Of course, what always happens is for Uganda, even when you see, I remember when Dinesh Nakaran had just come to play for Uganda, he came alongside Ronak Patel. They didn't fit in the team. They didn't fit in the team right away, because I think we had a tournament in Oman where they all flattered. When you see the way Raghav Dhawan is playing, he hasn't yet gotten into the team well. But Shidrip Mangela, the fact that he has played in the league, in our domestic league, the fact that the technique that he possesses, and he looks to be a humble man. So I just believe he's one of the players that you should be looking out for with the bat. That's why it's that he's soaring. He's really the player whose chemistry has already fitted in the national team for Uganda.
We have talked about a lot of players, but it would be a disservice if we wouldn't talk about the youngsters that have come in from the reserve side straight to the team, or players that have been elevated. And the names are Cyrus Kakuru plus Joseph Baguma. How well have the youngsters blended into the side?
Yeah, of course, now when you look at that team that was selected for Team Uganda, Fred Achelam being there as the wicket keeper, having Cyrus Kakuru as a backup wicket keeper batter would be something very, very good for the addition. But then also, just a reminder, Cyrus Kakuru and Joseph Waguma both played in the World Cup, in the Under-19 World Cup when Uganda last appeared in 2022. And these are players who have, of course, when you look at Kakuru, has lacked a bit of consistency. He has not been scoring runs, but then he recently got his groove in the previous games. Then for Joseph Waguma, many we are looking at him as a replacement for Franco Nsubuga, but it looks like the youngster wants to hang his cap even before Franco Nsubuga hangs his bats and balls, because this youngster Joseph Waguma is very, very, very good with fielding. At any day, you cannot see Waguma miss fielding in the pitch. So I think that gives him an edge to other players that were available for selection. And he can also grip that ball, get the turn and pick for you wickets. So I believe seeing them join the team could be something everyone will be looking for. Then for Cyrus Kakuru, he could of course help you to do that handwork behind the stumps as a wicket keeper. And he can also get for you runs. So I think they bring a lot more balance to the team. Because you never know what could happen. Your main wicket keeper, Fred Achelam, can get injured on the first game. What will you do? What would be the gamble? But having Kakuru Cyrus there could give you another option of a backup wicket keeper.
On this team, as we've talked about the youngsters, there are also reserves. And the two reserves are Ronald Lutaya, who you said has really done some good. Then Bilal Hassan, who we also talked about while we were starting this show. But the reserves, what do the reserves bring, and why are they called reserves at the end of the day?
Okay, there are two types of reserves. They are what we call traveling reserves. For example, when we went for the T20 World Cup, we had two traveling reserves in the names of Ronald Lutaya and Innocent Mwebaze. Traveling reserves means that these reserves will travel with the team. Then, but for this case, as I got confirmation from the media manager for Uganda Cricket, Dennis Musali, he told me that these reserves will not travel. But what the reserves do is, when they read the final 14 who will represent the team, the reserves are like substitutes or backups of the other squad. For example, if one of your batters gets a problem, you would easily bring in Ronald Lutaya, because Ronald Lutaya is a batsman. So in case a batter like Shirdeep Mangera gets a problem, you can easily bring back Shirdeep and maybe take Lutaya to the tour. If one of the bowlers gets a problem, you can easily bring the bowler back from the squad and then put in Bilal Hassan. But of course, Bilal Hassan, we have seen him that he was part of the T20 World Cup squad. And Bilal Hassan has played for Uganda many, many tournaments. When you look at the Challenge League B that we hosted in 2022, he was in that team very well. And his experience, I saw him playing here in the trial games. He's one of those players who are getting wickets during the two practice games that the team played prior to this second round of the Challenge League B tournament. And then Ruta was also getting runs. So I believe these two players have something to offer to the team.
The other question I would like to pose to you is, how much influence do these other tournaments have on these qualifiers? For example, Uganda, before or after the first round of the Challenge League B, we had the Continental Cup, and let me say a couple of players played in it, but the main players on the senior team, some did not appear. So let us say others were given a chance. What influence do these small tournaments, okay, I do not want to call them small, sorry, do some of these tournaments do really have on the national team that is being called up for such qualifiers like a Challenge League B?
Of course, the IL T20 Continental Cup is not a small tournament, for matters of clarity. It is sponsored by a man who sponsors the IL T20 that is happening in Dubai called Mobashir. But that tournament, I believe one of the things that it offers to the players is maybe some bit of confidence. Because when you look at the IL T20 Continental Cup, it was a T20 tournament. Well, this tournament they are going for is a 50-over tournament. Of course, the 50-over tournament is played in sessions. You could just plan your game. You say that maybe after the first 10 overs, I must be having 60 runs. In the next 30, I must be having 100 runs. So it is not like T20, where T20 would say in the power play, if you have lost less than 2 wickets, we need to be having 60, 10 per over. So they are really different types of games. But one of the things maybe the other tournament offers, the Continental Cup and maybe the emerging, is some bit of confidence, maybe some groove, maybe some international feel. But really to the game, I don't believe, because we were actually supposed to host about 2 tournaments before this Challenge League B second round. I was hearing people speaking about the T10 tournament. But the reason why this tournament was postponed is because the format is different. This is the tournament where you will come and you say, I'm going to hit every ball. But in the 50 over game, it's a game where you start slowly, get the runs freely, rotate around, rotate strike. So I believe these trial games, the two that we are played prior to this tournament, have given more compared to the Continental Cup. But the Continental Cup, of course, it's an annual tournament. I guess at this time round, of course, because of the so many events, it was played in December. But the thing it may offer maybe is confidence.
Confidence. My question was that, what influence does it have on such a team? Because those players playing there would like to showcase what they have. And how can we give them something, that hope that, don't worry, you'll get into the team because of your performance at the tournament. For example, let's say our best bowler on that tournament maybe was Ivan Baidu. Who? Okay, who was your best player at that tournament?
Of course, 2 tournaments have happened. Ivan Wade wasn't part of the Continental Cup tournament. He was part of the for the Uganda Cricket Association Emerging Invitational Tournament.
Oh,
That's why he was a standout bowler. But the standout bowler for the previous Continental Cup, he was actually the best bowler in the tournament, in the names of Henry Senyondo, where he even reached the feat of reaching 100 T20 international wickets. So, of course, these are players that they are being looked at. Of course, talking about that, mentioning Ivan Wade. Ivan Wade is one of the players who previously played for Uganda under 19. But when you look at the best bowlers that we are having in the country, at the moment, you would see that we are having only Juma Miyaja and Cosmas Cheuta, with other best bowlers like Innocent Mwebas having an injury. Jonathan Chiza is having an injury, but I even see of late as if he's leaving the players' side and is joining the coaching side. Then the other player could be Shaf Mohammed. He plays in Wanderers. I've been seeing him in the trial games, also one of the other pace bowling options. So what these tournaments offer is that, of course, in the other events that we may be talking about, we have a T20 qualifier coming up. Maybe that's when you pull out the other stats of the Continental Cup and the T20 tournaments, and you see how these players were faring in the T20s, then you maybe select them to play in such a tournament. You could see that Simon Ssesazi was getting runs in the Continental Cup, which is a T20 tournament, but in the trial games that we have played here, he didn't get many runs to the coach's expectation. Kenneth Weiss wasn't part of the team that played in the Continental Cup, but because he has been impressive in this tournament here, we have even been seeing him bowling at times, because he's a bowling all-rounder. Sorry, he's a batting all-rounder. A batter who can bowl. So it's that maybe if the team is lacking options on pace bowlers, they can easily be used. But remember, he missed the Continental Cup, but in the trial games and training, he has been impressive. Of course, I'm not a selector in Uganda. I have people like Okia and have everybody who do this type of selection. But I think these are some of the things that they look at, because at least I've had the chance of, I've not met Okia in a while, but we have been speaking. But I've had the chance of meeting Nehal, and these are some of the things that they have been seeing. Your consistency in training and trial games, plus maybe discipline, could do easily earn you a spot.
I'm very sorry for posing questions that do not match straight on to you, but it's something that the viewers out there would like to know. That's why we bring experts like you on this show. So let us just go through a little bit into a team so that everyone can know each and every player. I know we may not have had the chance to talk about each and every player at this point of time, but I know the viewer out there would like to know each and every player that made it to the team. Robinson Obuya, Shidrip Mangela, Raghav Dhawan, then we have Joseph Baguma, the 2 youngsters, and Cyrus Kakuru, then Kenneth Waiswa, Juma Miyaji. Riyazat Alisha, the captain, then Dinesh Nakurani, Alfesh Ramjani, Cosmas Cheuta, Frank Nsubuga, Fred Achelam, and Henry Senyondo. The two reserves, like we've talked about them, are Bilal Hassan and Ronald Dutaya. Anything new that you can say on this team, or compliment a player one by one? I think each and every player that makes it to his team deserves a mention.
Starting with Robinson Obia. Robinson Obia is a top order bat. And every time I get in front of the camera, I always tell the people that he's the only player who scored a maximum OA6 for Uganda during the T20 World Cup when Uganda made a maiden appearance. Humble Boy started his cricket journey in Jinja. But of course, I've seen his technique growing. There is a gentleman they brought, there is a gentleman who was hired from Namibia when Uganda was playing in the T20 qualifiers, called Craig Williams, an expert there in the batting. And when you talk to Robinson Obia, he says that this gentleman has greatly impacted his batting abilities and skills, because you may have the power, but then how do you control the power? How do you add skill to that power? So I believe Robinson Obia is one of the players that you should be looking out for. So if maybe you had an option of opening Robinson Obia alongside Shildip Mangera, then bringing Raghavdan at one down, you would need an aggressive batter. You would maybe give that role to Robinson Obia to try and make sure that he hits the ball harder, as maybe Shildip Mangera is rotating the strike. Then Shildip Mangera, left-handed batsman, he offers a wealth of experience also to the team. He's also there in the team. He can score for you runs. Then the other batter being Raghavdan. Raghavdan, every time he gets the ball, he struggles a bit. But with the bat, he hasn't gotten his groove well. He hasn't scored runs. But there is a reason as to why maybe the coaches and selectors have kept trusting him and given him a slot again yet on the team. Then, of course, moving forward, Alpesh Ramjani, batting all-rounder. He can give you runs and give you wickets. Kenneth Waiswa, batting all-round as well. He can give you runs and also get for you some wickets. When we continue, Riyazat Alisha, also a batting all-rounder. He can bowl. Though I've seen him distancing himself from the ball on many occasions. But he can get for you runs and he can also bowl. Then we get down the batting lineup. Henry Senyondo, that one is typically a bowler. Joseph Baguma, bowler. Fred Achelam, wicket-keeper bat. Then Cyrus Kakuru is also wicket-keeper bat. The evergreen Baresi, Franco Nsubuga, he's a bowling all-rounder. Very, very good and handle with the ball. But we've seen him also at occasions scoring runs. Remember in the third round of the Challenge League B tournament when we went to Jersey, that game that we lost to Kenya, which actually maybe made us miss the ODI status. We see that Frank Nsubuga is one of the players who resiliently stood to the wickets. Because for him, he knows his experience, he knows what is supposed to be done. What you need is to stick on the wicket, try and rotate around the strike. Then Dinesh Kumar Nakrani, also very, very good with the bat, but he also has those cutters. Cutters are those balls that you ball in, you reduce their pace, then you try to make them move around. Every time he bowls them, he gets wickets. So we saw him getting wickets with that type of bowling here in the Challenge League B tournament that we hosted the first round, and used the same technique also in the Continental Cup. So he also offers something there to the team. Then the other reserves, Ronald Dutaya, and also that gentleman. The other players I didn't talk about were Juma Miyaji and Cosmas Cheuta, very, very known for their pace. I remember when we played against West Indies in the T20 World Cup, in his post-match presentation, the captain for West Indies, Rovman Powell, of course, he couldn't mention Cheuta. He was calling him Chuta. So he came in his post-match and said, yeah, Uganda, them got some good players. When you look at the way Juma them play, plus Chuta. Those young boys, those young black boys, them bowl well. So really, these are players. Cosmas Cheuta, of course, we know him for his pace. Juma Miyaji, part of the under-19 team that played in the World Cup, very, very good and handle with the ball. So I believe this team has been selected well, and it is in a very good position to represent Uganda.
I want to close this session, but let me ask you one thing before you say your last remarks. Is a wicket keeper supposed to be a batsman?
The answer is yes. Actually, he's not supposed to be a batsman. He's supposed to be a top order bat. Top order bat means these fast batters, the typical batters of the team. But of course, you have seen some teams like looking at a team like, of course, I support Australia international cricket. I always love looking at Australia. When you look at the test team for Australia, they have a wicketkeeper batter called Alex Carey. But he bats at around number 7. And also a wicketkeeper's batter at that number. But in other countries, you see a wicketkeeper coming either at number 2 or 1 down or at number 4. Because, of course, you a wicketkeeper, you will not bowl. Because you will be keeping. So the other thing that you would offer to the team is scoring runs. Yeah.
I thought one would say you just wicket keep and just go and sit. But anyway, a good time to be alive. Uganda trying to attain ODI status with all the Challenge League B rounds that we hope to come. Plus this one that is going to be in Hong Kong on February 4th to 16th. This has been our time, but I would like the man himself, Ivan Ssesazi. They say I think it's for...
This is for Cyprian. I'm a Catholic. That's why I have a miraculous medal here with me. So that's why I just abbreviate it. I'm Sajabi Ivan Cyprian, full names. But the Cyprian is the name that I was baptized in church.
Let him say his final or closing remarks so that we might get out of here because it's getting colder and colder.
Final remarks. Of course, Uganda in the first round of the Challenge League B, we had a top-class finish. Just one game against Hong Kong, China was washed out and managed to win all the other games. We are on top of the table. Very, very great when you're hosting a tournament at home in conditions you know very well. You're eating the posho. You see, when players go out, say now the way they are going to Hong Kong, they may say, for us we ate snakes and the frogs, that's why we didn't score runs. But then the first one being hosted here in Uganda, and we finish on a high, despite the home pressure and everything, was really a good thing. So I believe after the second round of the Challenge League B tournament, we may still be on top. But of course now Uganda being that we managed to win all the games that were here, we are now a target to everyone. We are now a team that everyone wants to beat. I know I may have to say that when you go to Hong Kong, China, we will lose to Italy. But I believe we shall win all the other games and shall remain on top. So then we'll look forward to the other round, which will be hosted in Tanzania. But I have great beliefs in the team, and I believe the team is in good hands. Of course, we saw the batting consultant Craig Williams coming again. The head coach Abe Shama and his assistant Ogwang Jackson. I saw them the day before yesterday around. We have a fitness coach in the names of Osidak Galhena, the man from Sri Lanka, also with the team. So I believe the team is in good shape. That's the technical team. So I believe the team is in good shape to go and shine in Hong Kong, China.
A tough call to make. Ivan doesn't know, or he's not sure of how Uganda will take on that challenge against Italy. He has a bad feeling, I would call it. But anyway, this has been our time. My name is Mugalu Jeremiah, and this is The Site. Stay tuned for more in the world of sport. Bye for now.